So you've seen all these clothing brands on TikTok and Instagram making an absolute stack on Y2K logos, and you want a piece of the pie.
Oh, say less!
Yo, what's good guys, my name is Joe's Graphics. I'm a full-time merchandise designer, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a Y2K logo like these in Adobe Photoshop. Now, it is highly recommended that you do use Adobe Illustrator for these types of logos, or any logos in general actually. But for the most of us that do use Adobe Photoshop, then this is the software that we are going to be using. So the first thing we're going to need is inspiration. What are we basing our design off? Now, being completely original is always the best option for most beginners, even to advanced users like me. Sometimes we need inspiration in order to bring our ideas fully to life. So I definitely recommend using a website called Pinterest and searching up Y2K logos and just having a look at what sort of logo you're looking for and where you can take inspiration from that piece. We're actually going to be going with this logo for inspiration, and watch to the end to see how we transformed it from essentially this to this. So the Photoshop side now, we're just going to head over into the top left, click on new, and we're just going to make our new document. Oh, I like to go with 14 inches width, 17 inches height, and a 300 resolution. Make sure it's on 300 resolution so you don't lose any quality, you know, with your work. Click on create. So we're met with this transparency background if you did copy my exact settings. So we're just going to head over into the bottom right, click on like this little half circle thing, click on solid color, and we're just going to go with a black background for now. Boom, it's done. So now you want to get your font. I'm actually using this Berry font that you can purchase within the description. However, if you are looking for fonts, you can use the font 1001 fonts, or just type up Y2K fonts on Google, but I can't give you this font for free. So we're back in our Photoshop now, and we're just going to type out the brand name. So we're actually going for a fake commission today. It was this logo I did for Walk with Love. So we're just going to type out Walk on the top in a completely random font, or you can already use your font. I'm just going to scale it up by pressing Ctrl T on the keyboard and then just moving this across. So now that we've got our font centered, if you don't get like these lines when you're centering things or anything, head over into extras, click show, and then have guides, canvas guides, artboard guides, and artboard names, and then smart guides. And rulers too, you want rulers. So now that we have walk, we're just going to highlight it all, and then we're going to come over into this font panel here where it says Helvetica compressed, and I'm just going to type in my font name, which is Berry. Like I said, if you want to purchase this, on the link in the description. So as you can see, our font is very slanted. Now we don't want this, so I'm going to show you a good and easy way of how you can get it, you know, looking upright. So we're actually just going to scale this down really quickly. Control T again, and then bringing this up. So that looks about right. So what we're going to do is, if you go into view and you have the ruler selected, we're literally just going to click on the left side and it brings up this little ruler. We're just going to place it to the edge of our font essentially. We're going to click Control T again, hold Control on your keyboard, and then we're just going to carefully bring this over to where it meets the ruler. Do the same for the other side, and we essentially just completely want it straight. So that looks straight enough to me. So we're just going to click view and then clear guides because we don't need it anymore, and then we're just going to Control J on the keyboard to duplicate it, and then bring this down. So since the brand is called Walk with Love, we're actually going to change the bottom bit to Love. So we're just going to highlight over the whole font and then click on Love, and then boom, we have the Walk Love font or whatever. So as you can see, the font looks pretty squashed. We actually just want to raise the font a little bit. So we're going to head over to our right side and just left click on the Walk text, Control T, hold Shift on your keyboard whilst dragging this up to make it, you know, slightly larger. We're just going to delete the love, and we're just going to Control J again to duplicate it. We're just going to bring this down. We're just going to change the text to love. And then we're just going to bring this all the way over to the edge, like so. and then that's done for this part. So obviously we want to change the color of this logo. You know, it looks pretty disgusting at the moment. So I actually do have my old logo just pasted into Photoshop, and if we want to copy the color of these, literally just head over into like these two squares. You should show black and white, but mine doesn't because it's changed. Click on the top square and then click on the logo, the color you want to copy. So it shows like this red or whatever it is, this reddish pink or whatever. And then on the bottom square, you're just gonna highlight the secondary color, or you know, whatever color you want to copy. So it's gonna hide that. And then on walk, we're just gonna right click, blending options, and then color overlay. So now it should paste, you know, the color or whatever, but if it doesn't, just click on like this color square and then left click on the square with the eyedropper tool. So we're just gonna do the same for love. You could do it manually like I just did, or you could hold alt, left click on this effects panel and just drag it up to love. So that looks completely fine to me. So another thing we do want to do is just bring the, you know, the characters closer together, like in this logo, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to highlight over the walk, head over into this folder, and when it says, where it says VA, we're literally just going to click down on the keyboard. I like -60, but if you want a bit more space in within your characters, that's completely fine. And we're just going to click on the tick. So we're going to do the exact same for love, highlight it, and then type in -60 on the VA panel, like so. So I forgot to mention too, on the original logo, it's slanted, and I completely forgot about that. So a quick and easy fix for that would be to hold control on the walk and on the love, so they're both selected, and control T, hold control, and then just skew it over to the right, just so we have a bit more of a slant. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click Control T again, and we're just going to make this logo a decent bit bigger. Alright, cool. So now what we're going to do is what separates, like, you know, a beginner user to, you know, somebody with a bit more steez, is being able to customize the simplest things. So for example, like with this walk, we want to customize it. We don't want to just keep it as the font. It's up to you if you do, but we don't want to do that. So we're just going to head over into the bottom right on this little folder. We're just going to click it. So it creates a group. So now what we're going to do is going to left click on the walk and then just drag it into the group. So because we want this A like filled in, like as you see in this logo, we're literally just going to head over into the left, polygon or lasso tool again, and we're literally just going to select over this little shape, solid color, and then fill it with the color of the font. Now we need to find something to fill in the gap of the A. So I went with cartoon little girl holding flowers, just because it's innocent, you know, it kind of matches the vibe, like the love vibe of what we're going for, you know, in whatever way you want to perceive it or whatever. So we're just going to have a quick look for the image that we want to use. So thankfully enough, we actually ended up finding the exact image we used for the other logo. So we know we're obviously just going to use this one again. So we're going to right click, rasterize layer, you know, on the layer we want to use, and then because we don't want all this background and stuff, you should be able to head over to select subject. Hopefully this makes a good cutout, please. Right, so it hasn't made a good cutout. It's cut things out of the actual shape and it's kept most of the background. So I'm going to do this manually, but I'm going to quickly show you how to do it. So on the polygon or lasso tool, because we want to cut out the background first, we're just going to head over onto this third box, which means remove from selection. So I'm just going to show you quickly first. So by the hair, we don't want, you know, these little gray parts here. So we're just going to left click and then carefully trace out what we don't want as part of the shape. You can do this like a bit more rough than what I'm doing, but you know, I like to be precise with it. And then just the same for the other side. Right, that one was a bit more rough, but yeah, I'm just gonna quickly do all the background. If you need a more tutorial of what I'm doing, I'll link a video, but you know, it's relatively straightforward. Alright, so we do have a pretty good outline of what we don't want out of the design. So as you can see, we have a cool outline, you know, around the character, but a lot of the parts that we do want inside are deselected. So the same again on the polygon or lasso tool, come over into the second square, and as you can see on the socks or whatever it is, this is outlined, so we literally just want to draw around it. And then as you can see, that becomes part of the shape, so it's added to the selection. We're just going to do exactly the same thing for this. And I'm just going to find any, like, you know, mishaps or whatever, and then get back to you guys when I'm done. Alright, so now we have a perfect selection. All we're going to do is right click, and then layer via cut. And then it should separate the character from the background. So now we're just going to delete the background. So we have this character now, and it looks completely fine to me. So what we're going to do is Control T, scale it down till we get it where we want it to be. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to literally just place it within the walk group. Let me just rename this group real quick. Walk. And then to get a bit more of like an accurate placement on the fill layer, you know, where we place this little fill, we're just going to hide it. And then we're going to grab the character and just try and kind of match it. So that looks about right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to right click, blend in options, color overlay, and then the pink color. Boom, then we have the character within the text. So now what we need to do is we need to find a rounded edged heart. So I'm just going to go back to Google and find a rounded edged heart. Alright, so now we have our rounded edge heart into Photoshop. We're just going to quickly change the color of this again to our base font color. Like so. Now just a word of warning guys, it does get tedious on this part. So please try and follow along with what I'm doing. I'll try and be as clear and concise as possible. But this is where it does typically get a bit difficult. Especially if you don't really know what you're doing. So I'd recommend brushing up on the basics of Photoshop, like the extreme basics, but I'm going to try and make this as seamless and as easy as possible for you guys to follow. Alright, so like I said, this is where it does get tedious, so what we actually need to do is remove the O. So to do this, what we're going to do is we're just going to highlight over the font again. We're just going to bring this bit up, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to duplicate it, convert it to a smart object, rasterize it again, and have the original love layer, you know, hidden or wherever. You can do this by clicking on the eye, and then literally just deleting the O with the polygon or lasso tool. Then we're going to click on delete. Alright, so what we're going to need to do too is we're going to need to cut out all of the, you know, all of the characters. So on our love layer, on our rasterize layer, I'm just going to get the polygon or lasso tool. Right click, layer via cut, and then we can just rename this to L. And then we're just going to do the same for the V. Right click, V. And then on the love again, just change the name to E. So V, L, E, and then the heart is here. So now we're just going to get our original text back up, but we're just going to create a little group again. So we're just going to click Control, left click on all the affected layers. So, you know, the layers that are on their own. And we're just going to, let's just call it spaced out love. Spaced out love. Like so. And then we're just going to right click on the group, blend in options, then change the color to something completely different. So blue, let's say blue. Then on L, on the move tool, so Control T, we're just going to move it across so it fits over the old L. On the V, just click on it and move it to the left. Then do the same thing for the E. So it wasn't too bad, right? But now obviously we need to remove the O. So we're just gonna get our shape. We can remove like the color overlay now. So we're just gonna get our love heart, and then start scaling it down. And then we're gonna grab the ruler. So we're gonna click on the ruler at the top and literally just place it, you know, by the bottom of the text. And then if we look at this for reference, as you can see, there's barely any gap. So we're just gonna grab the heart again, Control T, and then start moving this over. I think that looks okay, but just in case, just gonna Control T again, move this over slightly, and then Control T plus Shift, and just move this up so it matches the exact same height as the text. You might want to play with this a little bit more. It is quite tedious to do, so hopefully we haven't messed it up too badly. Alright, so now what we need to do is get like a rounded edge rectangle or like a fully rounded edged line. So I'm just gonna go grab one of those and then I'll see you guys soon. Alright, so as you can see, we have a rounded edge line into Photoshop now. It has got a white background, so we just want to quickly remove that by right clicking, rasterize layer, grabbing the magic wand tool, and then clicking on the black part, right click, layer via cut, and then just delete the background. So now we actually do want to change this to the secondary color that we have, which is this pinkish color. So we're just going to color overlay and click on the pink, and then we're going to move it into the love, the spaced out love folder. So Control T, and we're just going to try and get it exactly, you know, centered to the middle. And then this is where it does get tricky, so bear with. So we're just gonna try and find like a part where it's centered but not too big. Alright, so this looks fine for the time being. If we need to, we'll just change. We're just gonna correct the spacing on these. So as you can see, the love is, you know, very separate from the walk. So on the group, while the group is selected, we're just gonna move it with the arrows. We get the ruler and try and match it up. That looks completely fine to me. Right, so on the original one, the love was actually closer to the walk. So what we can do is literally just Control T and then just kind of scale this across. Till it's about here maybe. And then just move this down. And then clear the guides. So that looks more like it, right? That looks a lot better. Alright, like I said, if we need to make any more changes to this, you know, we'll just go back to it. But now, like every Y2K logo, well, I say every, like most Y2K logos, they have a stroke, which is like an outline and a drop shadow. And this is exactly what we're going to be going for today. So what we're going to do is on the love and the walk group, we're just going to select them both, put it into a group again. So now it's all just one big group. Right click, blending options, click on stroke, outside stroke, the color is the secondary color. Stroke them, we're just gonna bump this up till the bottoms kind of start filling itself out, right? So this looks about right. Let me just check. I'd say about here, right? Now what we can do to fill in like these missing parts, literally all we have to do is on top of like in the group or on top of all the other groups, so the love group, we're literally just gonna polygon a lasso tool and just fill in these empty spaces. So like so. And we're just going to head over into solid color and choose the secondary color. And then this top one is where it gets a bit tricky. So we're just gonna head over to the rectangular marquee tool. Take it to about here maybe. And then drag down. And then we're just gonna make another solid color. So as you can see, it is overlapping you know, the K. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna skew it over, and then we're just gonna move it down. So about here maybe, you know, that looks about right. So now in the group again, just gonna head back over into blending options, and then we're gonna make another outside stroke underneath it, but now we're gonna choose the main color. Just gonna keep bumping this up. Yeah, let's go with this. This looks about right. Right, so we're gonna scrap the drop shadow. I think I found a better way to do it. So we're literally just gonna Control J to duplicate the group again, and then on the bottom one, we're just gonna right click, convert to smart object, and we're just gonna right click again, blending options, and then just change it into the primary color. And then because it's below like our main group, we're just gonna move this down and move this over. I think this is what I did actually. Move it down like so. And then we have our nice outline, but now we need to fix this. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over into our polygon or lasso tool. We're just going to try and fix up these edges. So like I said, this is where Illustrator will come in handy, and we should be using it. But we're just going to use the lasso tool for now. So we have one edge, not the cleanest, but I think it'll have to do. So the same for the top one, solid color again. You can't just use the old ones and just kind of like color it in, but too messy for me. Side one, I mean, it's not Picasso, right? But you know, it should do. So if we look back at our original logo, which is this, to this, doesn't look too different so far. I know I have messed up. This needs to be more slanted, but you know, it's a tutorial. It's like my third tutorial. Give me a break, you know. So now what we need to do is we actually need to get the rounded edge heart again and place it, you know, near enough the corner here. So what we're gonna do is on the heart, I'm gonna select subject. Hopefully it should give us a good drawing of the heart here. Yep, right click, leave your cut, delete the background, grab the heart, scale it down to about here maybe, color overlay, and then we actually want the secondary color, and we're just gonna have a small outline stroke. Move this down. Small outline stroke. And then we're just going to duplicate the heart, bring it down, convert to smart object, right click, blending options. We're going to change it to the original color, the primary color. Just going to move it to the right. Move it down a tad. That looks about right. And then same again, polygon lasso tool, and then kind of draw out where there's draw out where there's these gaps on the hearts. These are very difficult, so if you guys don't get these first time, I'd fully understand. So now what we need to do, we actually need to get the width. So we're gonna get onto bury again, so onto our type tool, on a random place just type width. It'd be a good idea to take it out of the group completely and then adjust the kerning. So select it all into the folder again, and then we're just gonna drag this up, and then 0 looks fine, so the automatic kerning. Yeah, that looks fine to me. So now we need to look for elements that we can use behind the logo. You know, you typically see all like these star shapes, these ovals and stuff like that. However, we're going to be going for something a bit different today. But if you do want to use those shapes, you can check out, you know, these elements packs and wherever that you can buy. However, we're going to be looking for something completely different today. So we actually went for a paint splatter, which is completely different to the typical, you know, Y2K trend and stuff. I like to make something that people can recognize, but add my own spin on it, so it has that kind of like wow factor, you know, not to blow smoke up my ass like. Alright, so we've got our paint splatter into Photoshop now. I'm pretty sure this is the one we used for the previous logo, but if not, it doesn't matter anyway. So we're just going to scale it up and then delete the background, and then we're just going to change this to the secondary color, which is this, and then we're just going to bring it all the way down to the bottom. Just going to scale it up, close enough though, but yes, we're just going to keep scaling it until we get like, you know, where we want to be at. But just for tutorial purposes, I'm literally just going to copy what I've already got. Alright, so we have our splatter now. Obviously obviously, you know, I just completely traced around my old logo, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make like this stroke effect on the splatter with the hearts. So I'm just going to add the hearts in now. So it should be these. Then I'm just going to get the normal PNG of the heart, scale it down. So we have the placement somewhat accurate, so now all we need to do, head over into blending options, color overlay, pick the secondary color, then inside stroke. Just going to make this really small. Then we're going to choose the secondary color again. Then we're going to have another inside stroke. And make this a little bit bigger. Maybe about this amount. Control J, duplicate. Copy. Paste. And we're just going to scale this one up. So about this size. And then boom, there you have it. So anyway guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I'm trying to do at least 2 of these a week, probably 2 a week. Full of tutorials on merch designing, you know, how to do certain effects, how to make logos, how to make merch designs, everything related to clothing designs, how to get clients, etc, etc. So please do subscribe, it'd mean a lot. And yeah, make sure to follow me on all of my socials. So peace.